Well, hello one all, welcome back to the Purple Rain Podcast. Friendly heat wave reminder, we are still in, freakazoid weather here in England. I nearly said drought again, but are we technically still in a drought? We've had a little bit of rain spells this week. I know. It's been a crazy first week of August where we've had in Manchester, we've had like tiny bit of rain spells and then it like stops again. But here in the studio, it still feels hot. It just still feels warm. So that's why I thought, no, I'm not taking any chances. Okay. I can't wait till we can get back into the fall and we can get the jerseys back on, because by that point the weather will be more sustainable and manageable in these conditions. But anyway, so speaking of the long hot off season, there was a story this week on the Hockey News that I want to talk about. And the funny thing about it is it concerns a topic that we are going to be covering when we kickstart the Alps 2030 cycle on the Olympic Hockey Show. We have just recently wrapped up our first cycle, of course called Orban Cortina. By the end of the year, we're going to be getting the Alps 2030 cycle up for it, because there's 1 or 2 stories we can do already for the Alps, and all that. And one of those is the potential of the 3-on-3 hockey that's been doing the discussions, floating around. Because it could happen as early as, say, 2030, or it could be held back until we go to Salt Lake in 2034. So it's potentially, it's potentially going to be a go. It sounds like that. From what I'm hearing, is the IHF seems pretty much determined to make this an event. I personally would just say no, don't do it. But the IHF made it their feelings very strong about it, and they kind of think it's a no discussion. We're gonna bring this event in. It's either gonna be 2030 in the Alps, or probably it's gonna be 2034 in Salt Lake. So we'll see what happens. When we get the program for 2030, if it's not on there, then just automatically choose Salt Lake. I'm going to put it on 2034. Okay, right. So yeah, so we're going to go through this article on the Hockey News bit by bit, and so forth. We're going to have our discussions about it as well. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay. Okay. WNBA players saw an opportunity for more and launched Unrivaled, a 3-on-3 women's basketball league played during the WNBA off-season, with the PWHL featuring the longest off-season of any hockey league in the world. Tell us about it. Yeah, tell us about it. The opportunity is ripe for women's hockey to copy the format. No. We'll read the article, then we'll give you our thoughts on it. The PWHL off-season for playoff teams is 6 months long, and for non-playoff teams it can span closer to 7 months. Even following the draft and the peak of free agency, the league has a 5-month gap that can feel like an eternity again for fans and sponsors. It's also an environment ripe with opportunity for a league or event to launch, mimicking women's basketball's highly successful Unrivaled league. The WNBA typically runs from May through October. In the 7 months that follows, women's basketball players used to travel to Europe, Asia, Australia, so and on, etc., etc. You can name any continent you like in the world. They just travel up there. The league sought to stop that by the WNBA's prioritization rule, but in the process, Unrivaled launched. Founded by league stars, Unrivaled has been packing arenas, including setting a new women's basketball record of 21,490 fans in Philadelphia in January 2026. PWHL players could look to launch something similar, with the fan base desperate for more and the search to shorten the league's abnormally long off-season when compared to other North American leagues like WNBA. Right, I'm gonna come in here first, right. I actually did when this article came out, I actually did look up what Unrivaled is. I've heard of it, but wasn't that familiar with it. I've looked it up, and none of these teams have locations. There's about 8 teams in this Unrivaled. None of them have locations. None of them are tied geographically. They're all in Miami. Okay. So straight away I think, this is not really, a viable thing, is it? Like how this baseball league for women's not really a viable thing, because that's the sporties and all going to be done in one barn. You're not for it. Nope. I've got all the baseball I need with the Oakland Ballers. Case closed. Case closed. Okay, I don't need any more baseball now in my life. The Ballers, the Pyre League, that for me is manageable as it is. I don't need any more. I don't need any more. Okay? That's period. Just like conversation period. Yeah. It's like, we know what the big issue is for why it takes so long to get our schedule out. Is to try to make a readability a priority. Yeah, I mean, look at some of those markets who are on the tip of the territory you think should be an expansion team, but the reader issue is a problem. Denver, Alberta, Quebec, Winnipeg. Yeah, we can name them all. We can name them all. Okay, it's not easy to find ice time. At the best of times, you want to do that in the summer months. Yeah. So it's not ideal. It's not ideal to do ice hockey in the summer months. Nope. And I think for me, last year's Colorado Cup finals between Charlotte and Abbotsford kind of proved that, because Charlotte is right down south. And when you get to that end of June period, which of course when the Colorado Cup goes up to, it can get quite hot down in the south. So the ice temperatures, they're not great in the summer. The ice conditions are not great in the summer. This is why I don't like hockey being played right up to end of June. Because by that point, the ice conditions are not going to be good enough. It's going to have an impact on players' safety. So it's like just get it done either end of May or first week of June. Done, and then we can all go on summer holiday. And then come back in November if we need to, and then all for. Plus, hockey is one of the most brutal sports in the world. It's one of the most physical contact sports you could ever play in your life. It takes a huge toll. Plus, it's more highly likely for players to get injured. Do we really need that? For what? Just a silly 3-on-3 tournament? No. And this is the point I was making about why it should not be in the Olympics. Because, really, we saw this in this cycle, we saw how it had impacted how the players who went to Milano Cortina. And a lot of them weren't able to go back to their PWHL team either straight away or full stop for the second half of the season, because they'd racked up these really bad injuries that just really had a knock up at their season. Yeah, I mean, Marie Fleet-Ped has had surgery literally this off season. Yeah. So there you go. So do we really want to risk that? No. It's only 3-on-3. It's not that worth getting your nicks in the twist for. Okay. So just no. I mean, yes, we'd like a shorter off season, but this is not the way to do it. No, it's not the way to do it. Plus, in the summer months, we do have the focus shift to national teams. Yeah. Okay. Because during the summer months, the national teams have their summer camps. To start evaluating who should or should not be on the roster for the national team going into these upcoming international competitions. And in fact, I think, if I remember right, at the end of this month, we're gonna have the first leg of the Euro Hockey Tour. Yeah. Right, yeah, correct. We found that out. We found that out when we all three of us went to Hercules and slugged it off. That's not got long now. That's not got long now. That's only got about 4 weeks left, and it's done. So, yep. Yeah. So by the end of this month, the Women's Euro Hockey Tour is going to start off. So international hockey is going to be starting again very, very soon, and we might get the rivalry series might be starting. Yeah, because of the Euro Hockey Tour starting earlier, there is talks that maybe the rivalry series will start earlier, and I think that's probably going to be the best thing. But because obviously, the rivalry series is kind of your best way to fine tune the two teams going into an international competition, like say World Championships or Olympics. With the Worlds happening in November, you've not got time after that to then do a full-blown rivalry series. You may as well do it in September, October when we're all still in off-season, and that's we can all keep an eye on. Yeah. So it's not like when off-season hits, players just go on a massive 7-month summer holiday. There is other stuff going on behind the scenes, like international camps, other competitions. So you want to throw what? This into the mix. Plus, a lot of these players have families. Yeah, come on. Yeah, Blair Turnbull's gonna be a new mother soon. So come on, a lot of these players got families they need to attend to. For goodness sake. Yeah. So can the PWHL players actually do this? Let's see. Technically, no. Oh, well, there we go then! Who wrote this article? Was it Ian Carden? Yeah. Ah, for God's sake! Ian, you're that bored! Go and report on the WNBA, for God's sake. You're that bored. Go and find a summer women's sports to report on. If you're that bored. For me, he's hit and miss with his articles. A lot of the articles of the hockey that we read actually do end up being from him. And some are hit and some are miss. This is definitely a miss. So actually, no, this can't be done. Okay? It can't be done. And here's why. Not without the express written consent of the PWHL, which shall not be unreasonably withheld. That stipulation sits under Article 26 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement, which calls any hockey game that is not part of national team participation and other than a casual pickup game as hazardous. There we go. There we go. That's exactly my point. Yep. Exactly my point. This is not doable. It's not viable. It's dangerous to the players. No. 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 Players have avoided the implementation of these stipulations for charity summer leagues. Okay. And PWHL players would need league permission to sign off on this, but as the CBA states, it should not be unreasonably withheld, and if the league itself is unwilling to shorten their off-season by schedule increases or other means, the players should have a chance to turn hockey into a better paying job. Okay, so let's hold that there. Yeah, so there are other ways that we should be able to come up with to shorten the off-season. Schedule increase, I don't know if that does that, because then you would run the risk of, as I just said, we turn into the AHL the World Cup, we end up playing to the end of June to hand out the World Cup. That's not really ideal. Now, that's not really ideal. Now, okay. I know us three have said that we want to see more games on the card, but it's going to be tricky. Because, unless you basically go back to where we were in season 1 and 2, and we have a pause for World Championships. Yeah, because the idea behind the move to November for the Worlds is so it does not disrupt our season. Nope. No. And honestly, it was a mass disruption in both seasons 1 and season 2, especially in season 2, because in season 2, everybody only had 3 games left on the card. Yeah. Yeah. Because of the way the schedule in season 2 worked, everybody only had about 3 games left on the card. And it was getting to that crunch time, where the teams is make or break. So really, you couldn't really that the pause for World Championships 2025 was a lot more disruptive than it was in 2024. Because in 2024, everyone still had like 5 games left on the card, which is not too disruptive. No, but in season 2, it was just ridiculous. So yeah. But would pausing in the first half be better than pausing in the second half? I know. You could think about that. I mean, there's nothing to say we can't not expand the schedule and have to pause through the World Championships again. But it's just, it would mean all that hard work we did last year to get the Worlds where they are now would just basically be like all for nothing, because we're still basically having a disruption. Okay, so I mean, surely there should be a way to increase the games, because I just feel like no way can it be a 30-game season this next year. No, it can't. With 12 teams? No, it can't. And if you can make the Rivalry Series now happen in September, October, that should free up more dates on the calendar to then do some extra games in, say, January, February, and then we can increase that bit. Yeah, so getting more games to the card, that could be one way. Maybe we fans need to come up with some ideas of what we could do over the summer to try and keep the engagement going. Yeah, something like that. But this is not the answer. No. I'm sorry, this is not the answer. Okay? Just because this works well for basketball does not mean it's going to work well for us. Okay? But let's continue. So when Unrivaled launched, it had an $8 million salary pool for the league's then 6 teams, with reduced roster sizes. Many players were making more in Unrivaled than the WNBA, and the chance to do that, PWHL players, many of whom continue to make under $40,000 a year, would be a major moment. Now, as we know, there is the talk about potentially 3-on-3 hockey coming into the Olympics. We initially thought it might be as early as 2030, and the episode we've done about it, we focused only on what would happen if it was going to come in 2030. I believe if it doesn't come in 2030 for the Alps, then definitely 4 years after that in Salt Lake, it will definitely happen. So what you're saying is, we're either 4 years away or we're 8 years away from a stupid tournament coming to the Olympics. Yep. Yeah, that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it, okay? That's the way I see it. So by 2034, 3-on-3 hockey will be a sport few in the world can ignore. The IHF and the IOC intend to add 3-on-3 hockey as an official Olympic sport as early as 2030, or failing that, 2034. Okay. The IHF has hosted events like the IHF's 3-on-3 series in Argentina last November. Oh no, don't bring up Argentina. What about the musical? No, not the musical. Not the musical either. Nope. Oh, I don't care. Don't mind if I offend the soccer fans. Yeah, but for a lot of it's still a bit too raw, George. They lost, though! They lost, though. Okay, but for a lot of them, it's a bit too raw. Maybe don't bring it up. Of all countries to test a hockey event, why Argentina? Why Argentina? I mean, I know you know they've got a huge hockey following for field. Oh yeah, in field hockey they do very well. They normally are seen as medal contenders in field hockey, particularly on the men's side. Yes, they have done very well on the men's side over the years. Yeah. Yeah. So the IHF has hosted events like the IHF 3-on-3 series in Argentina last November to help grow the game. And the IHF has made it very, very clear about their intent. They've not hold back on it. They've not hold back on this. So they're pretty much adamant we're going to put this in whether the fans like it or not. But I just don't see any benefits to this whatsoever. Okay. We are not basketball. Now, okay? We are not basketball. Or maybe that's what this episode needs to be called. Okay. But we are not basketball. We are not Unrivaled. We are hockey. We are the PWHL. We do things differently. We do not do things by the book in this league. Okay? I do not see how a 3-on-3 tournament during the off-season in the summer months, where ice conditions are not great in the arenas, where it's very, very hard to get availability in these arenas, yeah, I don't see it doable. No, I just, practically, functionally, logistically, I don't see it doable. I don't. I mean, we all saw how 3-on-3 worked out in the Olympics this year, and we all hated it. We all slagged it off. But I can bet you 5 million quid. Yep, I'm testing the waters today, my friend. I can bet you 5 million quid when we go to the Alps in 2030, the IHF will still make us do it for overtime rules. Still make us do it. Although, can we please, for the next Olympics, can we please have one OT rule for both the men's and the women's tournament? Because this was just stupid. And I remember Hassa talking to us about it during the tournament, like, what's your OT rules? Because I can't keep track of what mine are. And we were like, George, get the rule book. I actually had to go do that. I actually had to go and get the rule book because we were a bit confused. Because we weren't clear on what our rules were either. We knew what they were for the group stages, but when it got to the knockouts, we just had no clue. So I generally, at one point during the season, I had to literally go and check the rule book to see what was the protocol. And I was so surprised that the OT rules for the gold medal game were different, but the bronze medal game was like, what the hell? No. So seriously, please, for the Alps, can we please have one OT format for both the men and the women, and it applies to every single game, regardless of whether it's a group match, a knockout match, or a medal match. Because let's face it, we couldn't keep track. It was absolutely stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, we've got no problem with 3-on-3. I mean, we think it's great for the when it's used the All-Star weekend, but that's only like a 10-minute fun competition done across 3 games, across 3 games. Yeah. Whereas what you're talking about is turning it into an actual proper competition where prizes are on offer. No. Plus, I would not see a 3-on-3 trophy be legitimate. I wouldn't. Sorry, I wouldn't. So if they introduced it to it, you wouldn't see that as a legitimate medal. Nope. No. And you know what? I don't think I would want to cover it either. Because I think it just sounds completely stupid. It just does. I don't see the point of it. I don't. Okay? 3-on-3 should only be used to settle overtime in a regulation game. Okay? That's the only way, that's the only time that 3-on-3 hockey should be acceptable. If you're in a regulation game and you go to OT, you need to settle it out. Because that really does help, improve the game. I mean, I can remember when hockey used to be a 4-on-4 overtime, and it was just completely ridiculous because you still didn't really get like a good competitive result. Whereas when the switch was made to 3-on-3, I kind of felt that you got a more competitive overtime period, and teams understood it more quicker than in the past. Yeah. So yeah. But that doesn't mean I want to see it turn into a full-blown league. I mean, other sports like basketball manage to do 3-on-3 brilliantly. And in fact, I'll be honest with you guys, in the Summer Olympics, I prefer 3-on-3 basketball to actual basketball. But that's because with actual basketball, I don't really understand it, and I just think it's a bit dull and drags on a bit. Whereas the 3-on-3 is a lot more fast, action paced. Right. Plus, if we do 3-on-3 hockey and as a proper league, you will just get lopsided scores because we're going back to All-Star Weekend. In All-Star Weekend, you just see like these really lopsided scores, like 10-4, 9-6. It's just like, do people want to see that in our base? Because I don't. I don't. Clearly, the journalists are bored. They are bored. So they thought, let's just write something together, just post it on the website. Let's see, and that will pass up as our article for the month. Okay? Seriously, if you're that bored, go do what Lady said, find a summer sport and report on that, and then come back to us in October. Or late September. Late September. Yeah, sorry. It's very hard to judge when the news cycle starts coming back up again. So late September. Come back to us in late September. Come back to us when then you can. Okay, because that's when the cycle then we start up and running again. We'll be getting close to the World Championships this year. And so forth. Or go and do that. Yeah, go do that. If you're that bored, then you've got the World Championships coming up. Why not just write stories to get people excited and hyped up, and follow what's going on with all the progress right now in the build up to that? Yeah, that would be more better. I'd rather report on stuff like that than have to report stuff like this for the show. Yeah. Where's next episode? Getting our episode counts up higher, so thanks for that. But yeah, I think you're right, George. It would be much better these journalists right now. They just focus on reporting for the World Championships. Like, you look at what's going on in all the 10 nations involved, you know, and you get hooked up for that. Plus, it also would help they explain the format for people, just in case they're not familiar how it's going to work this year. Yeah. So, I just feel like, you know, we are going to do another reminder. I think we need, in the week of the World Championships, we're going to do we're going to do a quick little refresher of how the tournament works. Because back when we did that episode, we explained the new format. We did not have clarification on how the knockouts would be worked in terms of seeing the teams. We now have that information. Yeah. So, on the week of the World Championships, we're going to do a quick little refresher episode of how it all will all work, so you know what's coming ahead of the tournament on the Friday. Yeah. The plan is we're going to record it on the week before, so it can be published on Monday the 2nd. Yeah, Monday the 2nd, and then you'll be ready for Friday the 6th of November. Yeah. That's the plan. Yeah. That is the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Is there any more that you guys want to say? Because I really don't want to give this any more oxygen. Is there more you want to say? Don't do it. I was going to say that! I was going to say don't do it. No, just don't. Don't. As George said, there's got to be other ways we can make the off-season tolerable without risking health and safety. He stole my thunder. Were you really going to say that? Yeah. I was. Was that really what you were going to say to your final thoughts? Well, too slow, dear. Can you think of any other final thoughts? No. Should I just say goodbye? She literally just nicked what I was going to say. She literally just nicked what I was going to... Too slow, dear, too slow. It's a crap idea. Don't do it. Okay, right. I've been out that. Right, okay, I've been out that. Oh, thank God you've not got to deal with this. You're in my situation. Oh, God. The joys of working with a heterosexual couple. As we get little tips like this every now and then on the air. Oh, God. Oh, right, okay. So, thank you for joining us. Until next time, take care.